and welcome to episode 1 of Anime and Us. I'm TJ.
And I'm Sean.
And this is the review show that reviews anime from A to Z. Sort of.
And by sort of, we mean that we'll go down a list of dubbed anime from A to Z. At each letter, we'll take all the different anime in that letter and put it on a virtual wheel, which will randomly select the anime that we will review next. All genres are included as long as it's dubbed.
However, since this is our inaugural episode, we're going to talk about one of the biggest shows that mainstream anime in America and for us, and that is Dragon Ball Z. Now, this isn't going to be a review of Dragon Ball, it's just going to be our impressions of the series and of anime in general. But it will be one of the choices on the wheel once we spin it for the letter D.
At the end of this episode, we're going to spin the wheel to see what we're going to review. Normally, we would start with A, but we're going to start with the numbers and symbols category first.
And now that the scripted part's on, let's talk some Dragon Ball Z. So, I got into Dragon Ball Z when it was on Toonami years ago.
God, Toonami.
Yeah.
Remember all the different intros for Toonami?
Oh, yeah.
They changed like every year or so.
They changed it every year. That was one of the funnest parts. But, so it was Dragon Ball Z, I think Outlaw Star.
Yes, Yu Yu Hakusho. At certain points.
Yu Yu Hakusho. And freaking the other first one that I remember was
Cowboy Bebop was on there.
Yeah,
these are all through the years. They weren't all at the same time.
I saw Cowboy Bebop on Adult Swim actually.
Adult Swim?
Yeah, not on Toonami because that was more.
You might be right on that one.
They were separated at that time. But the other stupid one on Toonami was Tenchi Muyo.
Tenchi Muyo, oh god.
Yeah, so that one was pretty bad. But yeah, that's when I started getting into anime and stuff. It was Dragon Ball Z was my first anime.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain it was my first one too. Right around that time though, Pokemon was big. We were young, but I do think Dragon Ball was the first one. But it just started breaking out and booming through Dragon Ball and one or two other animes.
Yeah, Pokemon was big, but I never watched the cartoon. You never
watched the cartoon?
I watched like episodes every once in a while, but yeah. I had the
Hope that pops up when we click on P.
Yeah, no thanks. Thanks. I remember those episodes. It wasn't as great as you think it was, but the games, I played the games through, and I actually collected all 151 original Pokemon cards.
I was never able to do that.
I got all of them. It was originally 150, and then they released a Mew, in Japanese somewhere, and me and my cousin had all 151 original Pokemon
Did you get
cards.
what was the thing that you got at the end of the video game? Saying you collected them all.
Oh, yeah,
Like a certificate.
Well,
and you could print it out. There's like a Game Boy pass that you can put on your Game Boy.
I actually didn't do it myself, but my cousin did it, so I have seen that thing. Because it was ridiculous to get them all. You had to trade it through different
the red and yellow,
blue and stuff, and evolve them in different ways. But there was also like cheats you could do with like missing number and shit like that.
That was great.
Yeah. So.
All right, we're back to Dragon Ball.
Oh right, I forgot. Sorry, that was
Pokemon.
This is Pokemon. Anyway, so yeah, Dragon Ball Z is my first one.
I'm pretty certain it was my first one as well, just not 100%. It's so long ago, I was like 7.
And that led into anime in general. And I think the second anime I ever saw was the Akira movie.
Oh god, I didn't see that to my late teens. Amazing though.
But I mean, I saw like those other ones on Toonami and stuff. But like outside of that thing, the first one I saw on my own was that Akira because it just happened to be on like TV or something at one time. Although people are probably gonna hate me for this, but I think that was a little overrated.
Was not overrated.
A little bit.
My God. Did you hear about the movie they were trying to make with Keanu Reeves as Akira?
No.
Like I don't care about the whole whitewashing thing in movies. That doesn't bother me at all. But come on.
As long as the actor does it justice.
But Keanu Reeves, come on.
He's a good actor.
Yeah, but he's like 40. Now he's only like 50 something. Back then he was probably in his late 30s, and he's supposed to be playing an 18-year-old teenager.
That's true. I'll give you that. But if he's put in the right role, he's a good actor.
He's all right. I do like him.
I mean, what do you expect from what was he? Bill from Bill and Ted. So you got to give him some slack here. We really should get in talking
back to the Dragon
Ball stuff. Yeah. So who's your favorite character?
When I was young and it was airing, it was Gohan.
No.
But nowadays with Super and all that, I know we're talking about Z, but nowadays with Super and all that, I think it's more Vegeta.
Yeah, for me, it's always been Vegeta.
Yeah.
I started with Dragon Ball Z, so honestly, this is probably going to be strange too. I didn't really like the first season.
The Saiyan?
Yeah, the Saiyan arcs.
Oh, that's some of my favorite stuff right
That's
there.
a lot of people's favorites, but honestly, you know what it is? It's not even really a story or anything. It's just the old scratchy drawing and art of it.
It was definitely a little rough.
It's hard to get for me, and I'm not a purist by any means. In fact, I'm a very casual anime viewer, so, I mean, the nicer it looks in drawing, like the newer stuff, I actually find that more appealing than I do the old art and stuff like that. But people, I know how pure animes are, and they're even like, yeah, it's gotta be...
You need the original manga and the
original,
Japanese...
Yeah, the original art.
Translated exactly.
Uh-huh. But, you know, I actually like that. And same thing with dubbed and subbed anime. And I would rather watch it dubbed rather than a subbed anime.
Well, it's interesting we're even talking about that. I'm not much of a purist myself, but there are differences between the Japanese direct translated version and the American dub. They're not huge differences, but the biggest one is that Goku comes off more as a hero in the official English dub, whereas in the Japanese direct translation, he's way more selfish. For instance, in the Saiyan saga with Vegeta, in the original Japanese direct translations, he lets Vegeta live because he wants to fight him again, not because he's apologizing and he feels like he's honestly repenting and being forgiven for what he's done. That's just not it. So it is a little bit interesting seeing the contrast in how the characters are portrayed. But past that, yeah, I mean, I'm not too much of a purist either.
That's the thing about Americanizing anything. Even if you go into books, they do that too. When they take a book translated, they always make the protagonist more heroic. When you know in the book he's a kind of a shit, like in Harry Potter, for instance. He's a little shit throughout those books, and in the hero they portray him as this hero in the movies, and he's really not. So
what's your favorite technique in Dragon Ball? Whether it be beam or physical move or transformation.
I never really got into the beams and stuff like that, honestly. I think it's like, at that point they're like, okay, we're magicians who use magic. At that point, you know, we're not fighters. We just happen to know karate, you know, or whatever the technique they are using. I mean, and honestly, they're all the same looking to a certain degree.
All the beams are for sure. They're relatively the same. I wish they would actually tell you the differences between them. Like maybe, for instance, they could. This isn't it, so this is just my headcanon. But they could say that, for instance, that maybe the Kamehameha is more powerful than the Gallic Gun, but maybe the Gallic Gun's faster to fire. Like that would make a lot more sense, and actually separate the beams from being the same.
It's not even just a beam problem. If you think about it, what's the two different kinds of moves they use? It's beam or some kind of giant ball.
Well, yeah, all the energy attacks. Well, I don't know. I mean, some of the energy attacks do change, like in the Buu saga, with the fusions. He has the Spirit Sword. Gotenks uses the ghosts and stuff. So it does change a little bit.
But that's not more.
But for the most part, it is the same.
But that's not more That's not more techniques as they're using items at some point. I mean, yeah, the fusion with Gohan and Gotenks and Trunks. I'm sorry. All right. They use a move or a dance apparently to fuse, but then they have the rings that also can do the same thing, and then
the earrings, yeah.
And then didn't Gohan need a sword to become that mystical?
The
thing?
mystic, yeah.
And so it's not even techniques; it's like they're getting power granted to them rather than actually developing their own.
Well,
skills.
That's story plot.
Yeah, well, that's
the
thing about Dragon Ball Z. It's
to be fair, that's in most animes that are big in most of the shonen ones, like Naruto and on Bleach and all that.
Yeah,
One Piece.
The big ones, you know, where
the ones that last more than 25 eps.
Yeah, well, 12 in most cases. So
my favorite technique though is the Kaioken, King Kai Fist, which that's the original translation. And for anyone who doesn't know, Kaioken is directly translated into King Kai Fist. The reason why it's my favorite is because it does give you a power boost, which is awesome, like Super Saiyan in a sense. You get a huge power boost, but there's a drawback to it. In most other transformations, there's almost no drawback at all. Sure, there's arguments for Super Saiyan being, straining your stamina a little bit, but Kaioken directly, like, as soon as you use it, starts draining your stamina. Well, it's a double-edged sword very much.
I like that technique too, but for different reasons, because that technique seems you need to learn and develop, whereas Super Saiyan's like brought out through emotions or something.
Yeah, so you're right.
You need training for
Well, until you watch Super. I know we're not getting into it too much, but they have retconned the way Super Saiyan works in Super.
Disclosure right now, I have not seen any of Super.
Which is why I'm not going to spoil it for you, but they have completely retconned the way Super Saiyan is brought out in a Saiyan.
I got as far as...
Or a Saiyajin.
I got as far as Boo. I watched a little bit of GT and found that was terrible and didn't get any further than that.
To be fair, I haven't seen most of GT. That's complete trash, so I haven't touched it.
Although I have started rewatching Dragon Ball from the beginning, so I plan on going through all that since we're doing this podcast, and I really want to. Mm-hmm. We're going to dive into anime, and I figured that would be a good one to really catch up on. So
yeah, I think that's good.
And
especially like midway through, maybe we can just talk more about Dragon Ball. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I actually started doing it before I came out with this We came out with this podcast, but. Mm-hmm. So,
what about your favorite arc?
Believe it or not, my favorite arc is the Boo.
Boo?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
There's a lot of cool things that happen in the Boo saga. People forget about that.
People always rag on it, but you know why I like the Boo arc? Because it completes Vegeta's arc completely.
You are correct on that.
It's like Vegeta started off as a bad guy, and then at the end he becomes a good guy, but he got so much story and so much development in that arc, and he's my favorite character. So, even with the crappy Boo stuff and stuff like that, and everything, like him eating people and stuff like that, Vegeta's story arc in that really made it. My favorite episode of Dragon Ball Z is the one where he blows himself up and sacrifices himself to save everything.
Yeah.
And that's the episode that really drove me in the anime, honestly.
It's interesting you said he's your favorite and you like him most in the Boo. He actually gets the most plot development throughout the entire series, besides Gohan. Gohan's second. Vegeta's first, though. From where he starts at the beginning of the series, a murderer of planets, destroying races and everything, if you look into the back stories of the mangas. And where he ends at the end of Z, it's definitely a huge contrast.
Right.
He's a different person.
And it's a shame about Gohan, because it felt like in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, when they first started that, he was being groomed to take over the series.
Destined to be for greatness.
Even to take over series. He felt like Goku in Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball thing. And then after Cell, they kind of like, all right, no, not happening.
Yeah, my personal opinion on that is Akira Toriyama, the creator, wanted Gohan at the beginning of the scene. This is, again, headcanon. This is my personal opinion after seeing interviews and stuff.
Just to clarify, I'm not a big fan of Gohan, but it's his story.
I do like Gohan a lot.
I just the whole him in the beginning and the training and stuff like that. It was just
It seemed like they changed it to Goku in the Boo arc. And Goku even says that at one point in the Boo arc, where he says, I wanted you guys to fight and win, but obviously that wasn't happening, so he had to take over New Super Saiyan 3.
But I needed the win.
Even then didn't work.
But I needed the win.
yeah. Goku needed to win. Goku time.
I don't know if what's filler or not, be honest with you. I haven't looked into.
So filler versus manga versus anime, there's not that much. I mean, there are a bunch of episodes, but it's inconsequential.
So, but what I don't know is if that after Goku dies, that whole Otherworld tournament thing.
That's all filler.
That's all filler.
Yep.
Because that's all focused on Goku too.
Icon, all that. That's all. Filler.
I didn't, like I said, I don't know, but
cool stuff though. I really liked one of my favorite parts in Z actually is when he's in the Otherworld tournament. And he goes Super Saiyan fighting... I forget who he was fighting when he does. He was either Pikkon or it was that water guy. The guy that could swim through the water. But he went Super Saiyan, and it wasn't enough, so he went Super Kaioken. Oh. And of course it was filler. It wasn't in the manga, but it was just so cool.
The whole Afterworld thing is kind of screwed up and weird.
It doesn't make any sense.
Not even that. It's just like, you want to keep your body? You have to be a fighter.
It doesn't matter. A hero.
Not even.
I guess even you don't see any.
The Ginyu Squad had their body still.
Yeah. Well, they were evil. They were in hell.
But they came up and fought Tien and stuff on King Kai's planet. So as long as you have a high power level, you're good.
You're right.
It doesn't matter how good you are.
Right. So, we don't see a single instance of someone like self-sacrificing. And having their body.
Well, I mean Vegeta, but
no, I mean like a normal person, not a fighter.
Yeah. So everyone else is stuck in this little cloud, and it's like, oh, I guess you're not good enough. So. Well, that's anime.
Yeah. It doesn't make a bit of sense because you have all these heroes that are training forever in the afterlife, and you can pretty much bring them to and from whenever you want. We've seen it multiple times in the series. Goku comes back for a day. In Super Frieza comes back for a day. You can wish them back.
You can go back further than that. In Dragon Ball, they brought Gohan back from the old Grandpa Gohan back to fight him in that tournament with Baba. So
anytime there's a serious threat, I don't. It doesn't quite make sense as to why they don't just bring someone back from the other world to fight them.
Well,
These people have been training for hundreds of years, but thousands of years potentially. Who knows?
Yeah, well, now we're just putting holes in anime. Okay. So
I guess we could stop that.
As good as Dragon Ball Z, it's not my favorite anime. What about you?
My favorite anime?
Yeah, is it your favorite anime?
No, not anymore. When I was a kid, for sure. Right now, I think my current favorite anime is probably Iron Blooded Orphans. It's a Gundam anime.
I never even heard of it.
It just finished. It's got 2 seasons. I think around 50 episodes. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Mine's more of a classic. My favorite's Trigun.
Trigun.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Bash the Stampede.
Yeah. So.
All right, so we're going to wrap this episode up, but before we end it, let's spin the wheel and see what we're going to review next episode. The alphabet will start at the end of next episode. This episode, we're going to spin the wheel for all the numbers and symbols. So let's give that a spin.
Ooh. 801 TTS Airbats. I have never heard of that one, and if you never either, you'll find out next time.
Yep. TJ and Sean signing off.
See yas.